Hello, everybody. Thanks for checking out this live stream. Oh, hi, James. So great to see you. I was just thinking about you the other day. I was going to send you a text. How's it going? Kid Poker 007 says, did you ever do any lesson on swing feel? I don't think I have. So maybe I will have to do that. I have been doing some things on subdivision in the member area, and so we've been working on swing feel a little bit on that. So maybe I'll just offer a couple of tips. Thanks for bringing that up. So let's see. One of the things I'll just mention too, and I'm just speaking kind of from my own experience and also just some teaching methods, like fellow teachers and directors have talked about this with like coaching ensembles and stuff, which is to focus like a little more, like let's say if you're playing, let's say you're playing like C major scale or something, to first not really think too much about the swing necessarily, but like accenting on the end of the beat. So, and maybe even play like real even, like. So like just accenting a little bit on the end of the beat, maybe playing fairly evenly, or just having a little bit of that swing going. So So kind of what you don't want is like, so that you don't really want. So that's kind of like the last example is kind of like what you don't necessarily want to do. So unless you're was just like going for that sound at a given moment, but that's more like a dotted quarter and a 16th. So you can also dig back and do listening like throughout history of jazz solos and things. So think back, or just in music in general. Um, you might think about like ragtime kind of feel, and then more like swing era, sort of that kind of feel. Another thing that's kind of interesting too is to, um, and that if you go back and look at um, that one solo I did a video on it. What was that? Lee Morgan. That's super instructive as far as like swing and even eights and is doing this thing for a period of time and this other thing for a period of time. So he has passages where it's very even. There's passages where it's more swung, or phrases where it's more swung. So it doesn't always have to be like the same thing all the time. So so those are some things I would kind of consider. But another thing to do is just try like let's say you have two notes. Try picking the first note 2 times and the second note 1 and get a little triplet out of it. Let's see if you can do it and leave it out. All right, cool. James says he's still here and interested in playing guitar. Awesome. Practices all over the place. Yeah, so practice and staying on track things. So I work on this issue with students of all levels, whether absolute beginner or maybe been playing for much longer. Want to work on a variety of skills every day. So, and there are kind of things that think about too, like playing. Make sure to play, but sometimes that's not actually like practice. So be sure to play and have fun. So that's one thing. Practice and do things that you want to refine. So let's say there's things that you're interested in playing, and you're having fun with playing. So make observations or even written down notes and say, well, this didn't go very well, or I'd like what happened here, but I'd like to be able to do this also. Make a list of some things that occur in your practice session, or if you even play out. Try to make some running observations and maybe even writing them down. That'll make it a little more concrete. Record yourself and listen to yourself. So, what needs to change? So, but with private students, I have like a worksheet like that I do on a monthly basis, and so that's one of the first things is let's say you're doing C major scale. Uh, Play chord, maybe major 7. Play the chord again. And that's your warm-up thing for that. I mean, that can go much further. You could do it in different areas of the neck and everything. So that's pattern and like scale knowledge and all that. Try to work a little bit on um, maybe reading notes, learning notes, um, develop a routine, work on rhythms and drill rhythms. Like one thing I would just say in general is like um, drill things, like do something specific and drill it, do it slowly, accurately, cleanly, and just like do it until it's very automatic, and no effort, no thinking. Um, but lots of skills. Work on harmony, melody, um, rhythm, time feel. But kind of get specific with things. Working on technique, and I think that's where a lot of folks um, struggle. I think a little bit with learning an instrument, no matter what the genre or what the instrument is really, is like picking like one thing and just doing that one thing, um, and then saying, well, maybe I'll get my scales down, and then once I've mastered my scales, then maybe I'll start working on rhythm after 6 months or something. And I would like totally not do that. Um, Work on several skills, doing specific things and drills, and do all of them every day. So, if we're working on that triplet feel like earlier, you know, and just say, okay, that's my drill. I'm going to do that. Um, and then assess, what's better about it or what's worse about it. How accurate was it? But you got to kind of keep it interesting, and you have to be interested. So that's one thing that I've kind of enjoyed doing. That's one reason I like teaching so much, which is just kind of coming up with some angle on the learning process. So kind of try to explore it a little bit. So like I was saying a little bit earlier, like the whole studying the guitar neck, I think I mentioned this a few times, but I took bass lessons from a bass teacher here and musician in DC. I think actually he's in Virginia, but kind of in the DC jazz scene. Many years ago, 20 probably more than 20 years ago. And Steve Novosel, really incredible musician. And, I mentioned to him, well, I play guitar and stuff. And he said, oh, you'll be studying those patterns all your life. And yeah, he was right. But that's kind of the fun of it too, is just trying new things. Like I've been kind of into taking some arpeggios and adding nines to them. So that's kind of, it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. And taking, maybe, and being able to play all those things with all the different core qualities, all the different positions and stuff all over the neck. That's um, um, it's a lot to absorb, So, I'll mention a little bit of just some things I thought might help folks out. Let's talk maybe about some chromatic. I think I may have mentioned a little bit of this the other day, or the other week. But say you play, say we're in eighth position, and we'll play one finger per fret. And just kind of move up the chromatic scale. So when you go up here and then move to seventh position, move to the next string, sixth position to the next string, and then fifth position. And then here, stay on the same fret. So, and then down one fret. So, and then maybe head up to the root note again. So there, you might head back down like this, kind of one fret up from where we were. And then also, if you just kind of take a look at maybe the starting note of each one of those four. You get this augmented triad. That's kind of cool, right? So you might try that out as well. I'm going to play around a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions and stuff. Thanks so much for watching live. All right, so let's talk about maybe another um, little bit of an exercise you might try. So, yeah, I think thanks so much for asking those questions in the beginning of the live stream. So, let's get something kind of specific, and it's something that where you could work on like a variety of skills. So, let's check out the similar exercise before. Um, and then maybe once you have these kind of under your fingers a little bit, you might try some other exercises along with them. So how about we do three notes at a time, so you kind of do kind of the same thing. Oh, hi, James. So that I was improvising on the changes for Blue Bossa there. So just making it up, I guess you could say, but kind of within that structure of that tune. All right, so okay, so we head up like that. Similar kind of thing as before, but we're taking three notes. So if you take three notes, then to get to this note, you might go over here. I mean, you could go over here. But anyway, the whole point of this is taking three notes at a time. And that part of the process too is very beneficial. You know, finding, okay, if I want to play a chromatic tone above this note, but I want to play on the other string, like how far do I need to go to get there? Where is it? So even though that might take some time, you know, just try to do it. Okay. And now if we take the first note of each of those, we get a diminished seventh arpeggio. And work through that. So let's check out some little things that you could do, kind of tying into what we talked about earlier. So you could say, okay, I have a little bit of maybe a melody, or I have something to create melodies from, something group of notes. Just take it maybe to one octave for now. And I could say, okay, so we have that. Maybe what's the harmonic context? You know, what's that? So think about some harmony, right? I say, oh well, that would talked about this diminished. So like, okay, well, maybe play a chord, listen to it, or get something going on a play along, Band in a Box or iReal Pro or something. Say, okay. Or even without that, just play a chord and get to hear it and sing, okay. And maybe we'll just kind of work up. Okay. Right? You work your way down. So then you have this the skill that you're working on and a drill, something specific to do. Then you might think, well, what is there a tune that might have that that chord or something, or or maybe say, okay, well, um, maybe that's like a flat three in a major, something, or a chord that's sort of bridging two other chords, and you say, okay, maybe there's some context there. So then you can maybe focus on a change, C diminished to B minor 7. Say, okay, maybe try that chromatic. Anyway, just kind of throwing out some ideas. So then you're working on melody, working on scales, working on patterns on the guitar. You're working on harmony because you have a context. And that's one thing that I'm really um, trying to really emphasize in my teaching, whether privately or um, online or in the member area here on YouTube, is having harmonic context for like just about everything that you do. So there you have that, and then you might think, okay, well, um, how about you work on subdivisions like with that exercise, like we did a moment ago? So you might think, maybe try the triplets with a bit of a subdivision in there. And then let me pull up something I was just working on with some folks on Saturday the other day. So let's say you have a rhythm. Let's say we think about this arpeggio. Say, okay, well, I kind of got the chromatic thing going. I have a harmony here. Think of maybe about a key area, and then think, okay, well, maybe I'll play around with uh, rhythm. So I might say, okay, let's try this with a bunch of different rhythms, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And say, okay, there's my drill that I'm going to do now. And sometimes you can have your practice session kind of evolve like that and just say, okay, we worked a little bit on melody, scales, worked a little bit on harmony there. Let's see if we could tie it into rhythm. And so I would say, okay, we'll pick the tones of the arpeggio and play it like I just did 5 different ways with rhythm, and give yourself that challenge. Say, oh, okay, I'm going to practice counting out loud as I play it, or set a metronome. Um, and um, one thing I've come across, I think um, as a teacher, you sort of over the years, you see a lot of people try it out, and you want folks to succeed, and you want them to keep going because it's just fun to do and it's really satisfying. But there are a lot of barriers that are just hard to overcome. Technical barriers. Just the training is hard, especially at the beginning, um, and it continues to be um, pretty hard. But if you kind of get over a certain technical threshold, and maybe the knowledge too, you'll have a lot of fun with it. Um, so it's kind of worth it. But so what I'm kind of getting at is that the one quality that I've really seen from folks that do succeed with keeping at it and keep going is persistence. So just, and I tell folks, especially private students, that I've seen people really, really, really struggle from the beginning, and some folks keep it going and end up doing really great. I had this one high school student once many years ago, and she just had a really, really hard time with it. She came to her lesson every week. She practiced every day, and so I had these recitals for these folks in the studio, and so usually I'd have like the strongest player as the um, last performance for everyone, and after I think after about um, I think it was about 3 years, she was the final act, and she did great. I mean, she was just really good. So so you have to be, I think, a little bit process oriented on it, and I get the whole goal thing. Um, we we want um, we want to see results, and so that's one reason I say, like, hit the record button, play something, put the date on it, and then play something in 3 months or 6 months, maybe something similar, maybe a year, and just compare, like, because it's really hard to um, see the changes day by day. Um, it's just like watching, a kid grow up. It's like you don't really see, or I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you look back at a photo, it's like, wow, I hardly even recognize them. They look so different now. But we only see these really incremental changes. And if you go to a museum and you see a bronze statue, and you see that spot on the statue where everybody's just touched that spot as they pass by, and it's all shiny. Um, that didn't happen after one one time. One time, one person. That's happened after. Man, you got to wear it down, like the rocks in the stream. They don't they don't get that smooth just on their own. They're constantly worn and refined until there's something that's kind of pretty or appealing. You have a rough piece of wood. You got to strip the bark. You got to strip the branches. You have to get it to a rough cut, roughly the size of what you want. You have to get it into the shape that you like, and then you have to sand it. Then you keep sanding it down, rough sandpaper, smoother sandpaper, or whatever you call it. Um, so that's what I say. Work on specific things, cover a lot of skills, um, learn a lot of tunes. And when you learn a lot of tunes, you kind of learn all tunes. Like if you learn one tune, you're learning something that's going to come up in a lot of other tunes. James asks, anyone struggle as long as I have? Yeah, I think so. I think everybody, you know, kind of does. And so you just kind of keep working at it. But if you have that interest and then you're constantly evaluating and you're constantly working at it, um, you're gonna get better. But yeah, it kind of takes that whole thing there. Um, yep, and then kind of knowledge of the fingerboard and all that technique. Um, Constantly working on a technique. That's where private lessons can really help you out, because you could have someone watch and listen to what you do. So a little bit like the recording oneself um, idea. It's kind of like that, but with feedback from someone who's um, played and kind of gone through the same struggles you have, but just at a different time um, in their uh, development. Um, all right. Well, let me know if you have any other questions or um, anything you'd like to do or like me to talk about, give my take on. Um, I am currently live streaming on Podbean. So I've got this podcast going. Um, so my goal there is to do a podcast every day. So, but I have been getting at least 5 or 6 days a week. But I've been live streaming some of the member area things, not all of them, but just like one of the things that I do in a given day that I think might work well in the podcast format. But I'm thinking this week I may do a dedicated um, podcast at least once. I might try that out. And so check that out if you get a chance. It's my podcast is Jim Ellis fret prints, and it's a new updated one. I'm trying to remove the old one. So I used to have a podcast quite a long time ago, but a little trouble removing it. I've sent requests and stuff, but anyhow, check it out. The new one is kind of gray background. I think this guitar, stuff like that. So we check in on Facebook here. Any comments or questions? And I talked a little bit. Oh, thanks, Ezekiel. Appreciate your comment. So had a little talk earlier this week that I shared on static chords, static minor chords. I picked this chord because I thought that's one I think we have So What and Impressions, which so I talked a little bit about pentatonics on that, but there are a lot more things you can do with that too to kind of create tension as well. I also have a video I'm working on. I'm not sure when it will come out, but I'm planning to do a melody video on my one and only love. So my assistant has written that out and checked it for errors, and so she's doing really great on that, and got a little of the tab written out too. So I need to make some decisions on where it would be played on a kind of fret by fret basis and fret by string basis. So that will probably be a similar format to some of the other ones I've done with the kind of play along, and my feedback from folks has been pretty good on that tune or on that kind of video. Sounds like those are really helping folks out. So a tune that we've been working on is Along Came Betty, and I have some videos of that from the past, so check those out. But that's a tune that we've been working on quite a bit, and that's what I was improvising on at the beginning of the live stream today. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking out this live stream. Oh, another kind of big announcement. We just reached 6,000 subscribers on this channel. So that's all thanks to you folks out there, and I just want to thank you so much for subscribing, and really appreciate it. So as I try to grow and make this channel a really great resource for folks to learn um, jazz guitar and improvisation on. So I'm working hard to make these videos as good as I can, and do live streams as often as I can, and release videos as often as I can, and all that. So just want to say a big thank you to everyone out there. We just reached 6,000 subscribers. I think it was Friday evening. So um, thanks again for all that. Really appreciate your support and your interest in this channel. All right, everybody, have a great day. Have a great practice session. I'll see you in the next one.